Suckers try to battle, but they get their heads burst. Suckers try to battle, but they get their heads burst. Suckers try to battle, but they get their heads burst. Suckers try to battle, but they get their heads burst. Suckers try to battle, but they get their heads burst. Suckers try to battle.
What's up, everybody? We back on episode 32, and we got the legend Flex from Bag of Trix crew, yo. Let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah, man. Yo, so we back. We back from the Conor fight, bro. That was the last thing that happened because we did record it before on yesterday because you were supposed to do it yesterday, but we came back from after the Conor fight, yo. Yo, crazy thing that happened, yo. What happened, James? What happened to your boy?
My boy lost his fucking ankles, bro. Man got crossed up. Man actually got crossed up. He crossed himself up, lost his ankles. But it was a good ass fight, yo. Thankfully, he didn't actually lose, so his career's still intact. That's all that matters.
That's what the Conor fans would say, yo. But you know,
Yeah.
he came out strong with the kicks. Like unlike the second time he fought Poirier, came out with the boxing stance. I like that. I like what I see there.
I think a lot of people misunderstand Conor. I mean, like, if you look at some of the interviews and stuff he does, like, I don't think he's a disrespectful guy. I think he just does what he does to sell the fight. And then people, they take that as like, yo, this guy's disrespecting me. But, like, because he does that, you're getting paid more. I mean, the UFC got bigger when he was there. You know what I mean? So
yo, he is where he is because of because of how he like sells the fight and like what he says.
Exactly.
So that's like I guess like he was bringing it back against Poirier. I feel like definitely some of it was more personal this time because especially when you lose, you're definitely a lot more bitter. But you know that just adds extra spice for the fight, and then like I'm pretty sure it will reflect on the pay-per-view.
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it was sad like seeing someone's ankle break. That's not fun. This was like the third time it happened, I think. Yo,
there's been a lot of leg breaks,
happen.
right?
Yeah, Weidman, Silva, and O'Connor that I know of.
Yo, it all came from leg kicks, bro. The rise of leg kicks, yo. The leg kick meta, yo. It's getting nerfed, bro. That's what happens, yo. Yo, and like in breaking, bro, if there's a top rock meta, bro, you're gonna see more ankles being rolled, yo, because that's probably where you roll your ankles during top rock.
Thank God.
Top rock does matter.
Oh shit, yo! So enough UFC talk. Let's get it back to breaking.
Yeah,
yo, we got the legend Flex,
shit.
bro. Yo, we gotta talk more about breaking, yo.
This is what we're gonna talk about. We're gonna talk about my boy right here. We're gonna fucking win this fucking match. I know this is live. This is a live stream, so I don't know what happened yet. Right now, fucking bitch ass England is up by 1. But you know it's not gonna stop us, bro. You can't stop the Forza Italia. Get out of here, you fucking Anglo-Saxons. Get out of here, bro. We're gonna.
I went to Senator O'Connor, which is a high school on the border of like North York and Scarborough, and it was all Italian basically. So like I was into freestyle music during high school, which is kind of like every song sounds like Planet Rock, except some girl singing over it, right?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yo, speaking of that, yo, so Flex, yo, how did you get into breaking? Like when did you get into breaking?
Well, okay. I love dancing of all kinds since I was like a kid. I've been dancing. My parents always told me that. The first dancing I ever did was like I heard of Saturday Night Fever with John Travolta and stuff.
Yeah.
When I was like a little kid, like I guess 5-6 years old, I was like copying that, and they used to dress me up, and I used to do that disco thing. Yeah. Then after that, I pretty much I was like 10 years old, and I was in like elementary school, and breaking came out around like 83, 84, and I was just doing that as well. So I was breaking back in the 80s. And then, but to be honest, I don't tell people, yo, I've been breaking since the 80s, because in the 80s, people that did it in the 80s kind of did it as like a fad, you know what I mean? And they didn't continue it after the fact. So like, why am I going to include something I just did at the time, which I didn't even know what I was doing? I was a kid. I had a windmill back then, though. I was doing that. But I don't include that in my time. Then after that, I went to like, I guess, hip-hop, the way they say hip-hop dancing or freestyle dancing. That was pretty big. And then I went into house, because when I hit high school, house music is where all the girls were at, and that's where I went to house dancing. But then when I met up with Gizmo and those guys, I went to a club called RPM, and I saw them breaking. I'm like, wait a second, I used to break. I used to hip-hop freestyle. I could do this. So I started doing that as well. I didn't join the crew right away. I was dancing with a guy named LJ and Desmond. And those guys, they're from a crew called Bad Example. And even they used to dance with Frankie and Derek. Those are the guys that were bigger than Bag of Trix before Bag of Trix. They were like freestyle dancers. And they could break as well, but they were freestyle dancers.
True. So I guess quick question. So back then, for like breaking or like so back then, what was like breaking more? Was it defined in the 80s? Was it like, oh, these are breaking moves, or is it kind of like put together with like popping and locking? You know how like, then?
Yeah, in the 80s, if you looked at the kid, I just had to watch the movies that were on there and anything that had breaking in it, and I copied that. So basically, I didn't realize popping and breaking were separate. And even when I started back in the 90s, and I was doing it again, I had both of it, so I kind of just put them both together. Like, if you look at my Rap City shoot in 94, as a joke, I start off and I do a wave, and then I start top rocking, just as a joke, just to show that I used to do both of them, right? So,
True.
YouTube before YouTube.
yeah.
So while we're speaking of that, so back in the day, so Bag of Trix was like the first big crew out of Canada. Pretty much.
Yeah, well, as I was saying, in the early 90s, everybody used to hip-hop freestyle dance, right? Or just I hate saying hip-hop because hip-hop is a culture, but that's the way it was labeled. Everyone kind of says the same way I'm a breakdancer, but I'm a b-boy, that kind of stuff. So people were freestyle or hip-hop dancing, and people used to add certain breaking moves too, but it wasn't like you'll see the guy do a bunch of six-step footwork. It was kind of like they'd pop, then they'd go down, do a windmill, pop up, and then start popping again. It wasn't really like a complete thing. Like, Bag of Trix was the first crew to make it like, hey, we're a breaking crew. Like, we top rocked a bit, then went straight down, and we were on the ground doing like patterns and stuff. Yeah. Right? So like that's the first one since the 80s. So like the 80s had breakers back then, but we were the first people to bring it back as a crew. Like, not two people, because there was also duos back in the day. Back in the day, like, people like, whether it be Gizmo and Tic Tac, Shadow and Quest, Frankie and Derek. It wasn't a crew. Okay. It was those people that were the ones that, yeah.
Well,
and then after that,
I know there was Canadian Floor Masters. Like, they were probably like the first crew. Probably in Canada. Like, but I was gonna ask, like, what was before you guys besides Canadian Floor Masters?
Oh yeah, my memory is so old, but I think it was like the five aces. Who else? Like, I forgot their names. I have it written down somewhere because I wrote it down. Like, as you know, I do my Bag of Trix IG, and I try to keep the history with the dates. I read a bunch of that stuff down, but like there's the five aces. There's different crews from Toronto. My crew back in the day was called the British Knights. That was like a elementary school crew.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was, I don't even know why we called it the BKs, right? Whatever. And it was guys from Glamorgan. It was a place in Scarborough. And basically went to St. Lawrence. It was a Catholic school, and at lunchtime we used to break, and we called ourselves the British Knights. I don't know why. I thought it was cool or something. We're 10 years old too, right?
Let's go.
Was there even any like English people?
No. I guess because even in our money in Canada, we have the British, the Queen and stuff like that, right? And at that time in music, in the 80s, in music, the British music was really popular as well. It was like British invasion, right? So it's like,
okay,
it was trendy.
True. Wait, so how exactly did you get into Bag of Trix? So you kind of saw them at the club, and then you just like kind of like just started practicing with them.
Yeah. So at the time, I used to practice with a bunch of different people in Scarborough. At that time, there wasn't anyone that was breaking. There were still people that were freestyle dancing and stuff. So I had to travel west. So I went west, and I hooked up with LJ and those guys before I hooked up with Bag of Trix. But then when I started going out with LJ, going to clubs and seeing Bag of Trix, and they were staying on the ground. Like, Gizmo invited me to practice with him and do a certain jam in West Toronto. It was called Airview, where DJ Grouch was spinning. And that's where I met Tony. And Tony's like, yo, Tony is the popper from Bag of Trix, and he's also in Boogie Brats. He basically said, yo, you're down with the crew. Because he saw that I had both up and down styles. And then I said, no, I don't want to be in, because I was still trying to get down with LJ's crew. So technically, I missed the first wave of Bag of Trix, because Bag of Trix was Gizmo, Tic Tac, and Flyer. That was one faction. The other side was Benzo, Queso, Tony, and Magic. So those guys are those two. Yeah, so it was two factions. They were both friends with DJ Grouch, and Grouch was having a party, and they basically battled at that party, and then they basically became Bag of Trix. So when they were Bag of Trix, then that happened in '92. I was asked to join as well, but I didn't join. And then what happened was when I was dancing with LJ and them, I saw Teeth, Buddhist Monk, and Mariano started coming into the crew, and then the crew started getting full. And I was like, hey, that offer's still open. Nice. So technically, I could have been first generation Bag of Trix, but I'm second generation because I joined afterward. But
okay.
It didn't work for you.
Wait, so was Gizmo the founder of Bag of Trix and the Benzo?
No, it's basically, I was saying it was the two factions. Gizmo and Tic Tac were like the two guys. Benzo, Queso, and Tony and Magic, they were the other. And then basically when they came together and they battled, both of them were still doing top rocks and breakdowns and ground stuff. And both sides did, and they battled. And then a guy named Twice, who was an MC for like on Benzo's side, and he said, yo, you guys are a Bag of Trix. And they kind of just stuck. And that's how the crew was done, right? So...
Bag of Trix, yo. But yo, I mean, like, yo, aren't you happy to be in Bag of Trix now? Because Bag of Trix is a legendary crew that's been known even till now, yo, till this day.
And you know what? The funny thing, I'm happy, of course, to be part of Bag of Trix. The funny thing is, doing it in the '90s. I basically, when we did shows or something, or we did a club performance, we battled. It never seemed like we were the legendary crew because sometimes the guy who did a head spin would get more props than what we were doing. We were doing style and stuff, but like to the crowd, it might seem like, oh, like that guy who did the head spin won, but then after the battle continued, that guy had no more moves, and we kept on battling, right? But at the same time, like to someone who does nothing know about breaking, they'll say, yo, that guy did something on his head, he's the winner. So we never felt like we were the legendary crew or anything like that. We just kept on doing what we did, and we didn't care about what anyone else said, right? So we just kept on going. Like even when I went to New York in the beginning, we didn't get love right away. It's like they saw what we were doing. It was kind of different than the New York style, you know, like.
So breaking now is like totally different from breaking then. So like, what are the main differences from like way back early '90s breaking to like now breaking? Like, was there like actually practice spots, like designated spots to session, or was it just like used for someone's house?
Okay, that's the thing. So back then, we had a lot. We're not saying we don't have a lot of crews now, but we did have a lot of crews back then. And then each crew practice was private. It was like, if you weren't in my crew, you're not in my practice.
Oh,
so that's how, I guess, if you look at the early '90s, a lot of crews had their own styles because they kept it within themselves. And then when they battled at a club or they battled at an event, that's when the moves came out. And then you kind of go back into hiding till the next event or whatever, you make up more stuff. But whereas if you have a public practice, like anything where you go and then everyone from different crews are there, you drop something. And I know I talk a lot about biting. Well, you drop something at a practice. We have
a whole topic for that. Yeah. Let's
go. When you drop something at a practice and then everyone sees it, they see the move and it's fine. And then later on, maybe a week later, or even if we had that same practice, they might even start practicing what they saw. Maybe they didn't mean to bite it, but they did see it and they got influenced by it, which is understandable, right? That's why one of the mantras of my crew is to be true to yourself. So if I practice with you, James, right, at Melbourne, and then you did something, and a week later I come up with the same move, and you come check me on and say, hey, Flex, you do a move like I did, I have to go back, oh, yeah, well, right, I did see you do that last week, and be true to myself and say, maybe I was influenced with you, and either I'll stop the move, or I give you props for the move and change it so you can't even recognize it. You know what I mean? But that's how I would do it, or someone from my crew would do it, because we want to either give you respect for what you did, or basically change it to the point where you can't even recognize it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Wait, so what would be like the Bag of Trix style? Like what defines Bag of Trix as breaking back then or now?
Okay. So because the thing is, I did mentor a bunch of crews after that. So I kind of have a little bit of insight on that too. Like I would say our style was basically we all danced and we all kind of told a story with our dancing. So if you saw us do a top rock, we do a top rock with a thread, and we do a breakdown with a thread, a footwork with a thread, and a power move with a thread, so that it all relates into one story and it has a finishing, right? So we kind of did that kind of style. And then also for Gizmo has something called the Rule of Three, which he didn't even know about. I actually pointed it out to him because at the beginning I did look up to him and I tried to emulate him and stuff. Some would say even bite him. But basically, yeah, so basically what he would do, because he also remembered too, we're doing style moves or moves that are not as big as someone doing something upside down or something. So when we do a pattern, we'd actually repeat the pattern 3 times in a row. So the person will do a pattern, and then they'll do another move, and then it'll go into the pattern with the same move, and then again. But the way Gizmo did it was he'd do a pattern. Just say he did a move and he grabbed his foot. Then he'll do a move again, and when he grabs his foot, he'll grab his foot in a different way. And the very last one, he'll do a freeze holding his foot, but it all links together. And by the third time he does it, the crowd who don't know anything about breaking will go crazy, because it's not just one original move and they kind of forget it, or it's an original move you do so good and smooth they think it's easy. But it's when you put it together in a pattern and you make it
like a concept
in a way that they understand it by the third time and they start cheering, right? So
true. Yeah, man. And I remember also Bag of Trix was also like famous for their commandos. Like you were one of like the only crews that had like the most nasty, like crazy ass commandos.
The funny thing is we don't think of it that way, because I understand people, they use commandos as a way to, I guess, hide their crew's imperfections. Like if you had a guy who can't top rock or something, and all they could do is like flare or air flare or something, you'd have the top rock guys go in and do the commando, and then basically when they split apart, the air flare guy will come in. So therefore, that round, you don't see that guy can't top rock. You know what I mean? Like
True.
so for us, our routines that we did, we considered them battle routines. It was never about a show or anything like that. We all did a routine that we could do at the other crew. You know what I mean? And one of the top secret things we used to do, and like the only crew that I saw do the same thing we did was Supernaturalz, was in the sense of that we would have a routine, one guy with another guy, and we would teach another guy in the crew that same routine, so that if the other guy wasn't there, you could still do
Anyone
it.
can do it. Yeah.
And then so basically it could be for anyone in the crew, as long as you learn the routine and the steps, you're good.
Mhm.
Like we did that against Supernaturalz one time, where they saw that I didn't have my partner overproof with me, but they didn't know that Silence did the same routine, and we actually changed the routine a bit to fit Silence as well.
That's very smart. Good balance like this. I know they do that for sure. Like they taught me that shit, or I guess I kind of picked that up from them. Of like, just watch them. Everyone does the same routines. They all can do that one with the CC go through the leg, flip up. Yeah, yo.
Has there been, you know, that meme? Oh, this guy had one job and he crashed a move. Has that ever happened to like your crew? Like, you know how there's like a headspin guy and then like you had one job and he just crashed it or whatever. Has that ever happened?
Yeah, it does happen. But the thing is, we never. Back in the 90s, it wasn't. You know how everyone has to be super clean nowadays.
I'm gonna get to that as well. Yeah, like how like, everything now has to be perfect. But back then it was like more raw. Like you could like just like go off and like if you messed up, it's like okay. So yeah. Like,
but yeah, it wasn't okay back then. But what it is, we called it falling with style. And what would happen is basically just so you did a head spin and you kind of fell out of it. You were expected to either tap mill or something that would catch it and make it look good. Even though we know as a crew that the guy didn't mean to do that, but you should be able to fall out of your move with style that it's harder to see. Like Hong Ten. Hong Ten falls a lot, but people sometimes don't know. If they don't know breaking, they don't realize he's falling sometimes, you know? Like,
yeah.
Or they just don't care because this shit's so fucking hard.
Yeah.
Which is another like old school thing. Of like,
one more thing. The original question was, what was the difference? Back then, it was like we top rock, breakdown, footwork, power move, done. That probably lasted like 15 seconds, 20 seconds. Nowadays, sets are like super long now. And I mean, I don't know what's like sets are like a minute now or 45 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would rather go back to that. I would rather go back to like 15 seconds. Then you can do multiple rounds.
Yeah.
Fuck, bro.
Maybe this is why a lot of kids or younger people are like fucking rising up so much because they have like the stamina to like do all this like crazy. Like look at Shiggy kicks, bro. This guy can do like 1 minute sets, doing like insanity.
Yeah,
I swear Thesis did a 2-minute set, bro. I swear to God, Thesis did a 2-minute set one time.
Like I would hate to think of what would happen if he was around back in the day.
Yeah, you do a 15 seconds, and then you do like a 20-minute set.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess from your perspective, like from growing up from back then and seeing what's happening now, like what do you see like in battles? Like how has battling changed, like based on your perspective?
The one thing that I do respect the when I'm seeing from back in the day to now is that people are more well-rounded in the sense of like I know you guys joke around and say top rocks don't matter, but I do see that there are some people that are actually doing some Brooklyn rocks and whatever and top rocks. There's people that are connecting to the music now, whereas before it was like they look like they're doing jumping jacks and they went into a move. You know what I mean? Like, like the top rocks weren't that good back in the day unless you did specialize in it before. I mean, the first generation in the 90s, we were like hip hop freestyle dancers that started to break, so we had tops already. But then the generation after that, they were just doing breaking, and like their tops were a bit not suspect, I guess you could say, right? Like, it wasn't as good, but they still got down really well, and they did different things. Like I would consider like Third Degree, Boogie Brats, and those guys second generation 90 ones. The 90s top secret, those guys are like second generation Toronto 90s breaking crews.
True.
It would be the first generation from the 80s, and then the second generation would be those guys.
Who were some first generation crews?
I would say just again, Bag of Trix, Paranormal / Intricate, and then Supernaturalz.
Ah, okay.
Oh, okay.
What was like the scene like? Because you know how right now the scene is kind of more nice and like it's more like kind of like there's like big competitions and whatnot. But back then I feel like it was more like Wild West where like people were just like battling each other like all the time. And, like
like parties.
So what happened was
the scene was in the parties. Yeah, sorry.
No problem though. Like back then, like hip hop wasn't as big as it is now. So there's only like a couple clubs that were playing hip hop like parties and stuff like Spectrum, Focus, like like those concert hall. Those different places were playing at, whenever they had an event. people from east, west, wherever downtown would come to that one area, and they'd have to actually dance at that one spot because that's the only place playing hip hop, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where you'd get like people with different factions, different crews coming into that one event, and that's where the battles would pop off. So, and since everything was separate, it was like that's why it was more heated because you wanted to prove that you were the better crew, right? So, whereas nowadays, like you have so many hip hop events, sometimes you have 2 events in one night in the city, and then people have to choose and you go, right? And then also the events are like competitions, and people don't really party as much, and they basically just compete. And if they lose, they leave. So then that vibe is different, right? So
true. But but I guess like back then, was there like way more rivalries than there are now? Like where like certain crews like like when they see them, it's like we're gonna like call them out, like it's on site kind of thing.
Yeah, pretty much. So basically, soon every week you went, someone was gonna gun for you. Plus also the difference too is that we went to a jam, so there was actually house music being played, reggae, hip hop, and whatever. So when the hip hop came on, there was like maybe like a 5 or 6 songs that they were gonna play. So that cipher was hot, and then you had to fight to get in that cipher. And if you're in the cipher, you're gonna find someone that called you out last week wants to battle you again. So it was always hype that one cipher. And then after the cipher it goes to reggae music, because then the guys would just whine with the girl, or they go out and smoke, or whatever they do, right? Like basically, but then you had a chance. It wasn't like breakbeats all night. It was like different music, so that it was. That's why when you look at old footage and you watch all those things, you see a huge crowd of people. Now all those people were breaking fans. Some of them just came to dance and whatnot, right? So it was a jam, right? It wasn't really a breaking event.
So yeah, because breaking events like more centered breaking, but then like in the jam, like breaking is just a part of that event.
Exactly. It's the same thing like the UBL try to do with the main event thing. So have an event that's just a jam, but it's throw a couple main event things that people would like to watch and were entertained by it. Then you go back to dancing and having fun.
That makes sense. So it's like a show, like pretty much like the main event would be like a show, and then we get back to thing, and then we just wait for the next show, like that kind of thing.
Yeah. So what we used to do is we used to go to dance studios and do a little small, like I'd say, okay, Anton versus Sticks at a studio, and like no one's watching, we'd film it, and then basically give stats. And then after who has the best stats, after the next couple months, we throw the main event, and we put those people to do at the main event. That's what we did at the beginning, but then at the time, it kind of took a lot of time, and it didn't work out, so we just kind of we went to the next model. So
that makes sense. We'll get into more details of that later on as well. Yo, damn. But I guess going back to in terms of like rivalries and stuff, who were like some of Bag of Trix' rivals, and who were your rivals back then?
Oh, of course, Paranormal, that became Intricate. So what happened was Bag of Trix came out first, and then Paranormal was there. They were like a hip-hop family where they had MCs and people that dance as well. Kind of like Zulu Nation in a way. So they came out, but then when Supernaturalz came out, like Paranormal got pissed. They're like, why these guys have Supernatural Paranormal? It's the same name as us. And they changed the name to Intricate, right? So that shows the timeline right there. If you think about it, like Bag of Trix, Paranormal, that became Intricate, then it went to Supernaturalz, right? So so basically in the beginning it was always Bag of Trix versus Intricate. And then what happened was Supernaturalz came out of nowhere, and they had Jedi, and Jedi was like a crazy power move dude at the time. And like basically like they started making noise, and they started battling Intricate. And then they started battling us, and then it was kind of like it was like a 3-way that kept on going around in a triangle, right? So.
Oh shoot! Okay, so you 3 were like the top at the time. You was basically like a battle triangle.
Yeah.
Damn. Who
but to be honest, we battled Intricate way more than we battled Supernaturalz, because Supernaturalz we didn't get the battle. Not all the guys were always there. So whenever something happened, like some guys didn't show up or something, and then like, for example, the 95 battle that we're famous for, the one that Crazy Legs videotaped, like Supernaturalz, Lego was there, but the rest of the crew didn't show up or something. There was like 3 guys out of the whole crew showed up, so they didn't enter. So they were supposed to be in that battle. They would have been in part of that Zulu battle, but they didn't battle because they only had 3 members.
Right.
Damn, I don't even know about this one.
Yeah.
Crazy. You know
that was 1995. Sorry.
You have that footage?
Oh, yeah, I have footage. Yeah, I have all footage for anything that we did. I have footage.
He's a librarian, bro.
Yeah, the librarian.
The one mistake I made, which was kind of cocky at the time, when I did documented stuff, I only documented my crew, because we had such a thing on originality. Like, if I was in a cipher and I had a camcorder, when someone went in from a different crew, I put it down or I paused it, because it's like I only wanted to have footage of my crew, right? So and I didn't want anyone to say, "Yo, Flex was videotaping." That's why they bit our stuff, and I'm like, your stuff's whack. You know what I mean?
As like a Toronto historian, that's wish, but Yeah, it makes sense.
Yo, how,
But
how,
but if you even if you look at some of my VHS tapes now, you'll see there's like footage of battling, and then when the next person comes in, it'll go for a second, it'll pause right as they're top rocking, and then it goes to the next person. So
damn, how large is your VHS collection? Is it like literally like a whole wall, like kind of like you know, like those people with like the encyclopedias in their
no,
books?
no, you know those tote things you can buy at Walmart, those blue
Yeah.
bins. I have like two blue bins of VHS.
Oh,
I have one.
Jesus.
I have one shoebox of those camcorder millimeter tapes, and
wow.
yeah, then of course I have audio tapes and cassettes and stuff like that as well. So
Damn, no, I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
imagine like whenever you're moving houses, you gotta move all that. I'm like, oh shoot, that's hard.
I know, I'm trying to digitize everything so I can throw those things away.
True. Nah, keep it. You know, it's like legend. Like even having like a relic from back then, like that's like nice. I haven't not seen one of those in so long, yo.
Yeah, there's more, a whole bunch of them.
That's before your time, young blood.
Damn, it is, yo.
Yeah, Eric, you were born.
Everyone's
when
like,
that-
You know, dude. No, you mean yo. Oh, what is that? Oh, is that the quarter?
What is that? This guy said.
Oh shit.
This guy said, what is that?
I'm sitting by my
Yo, do you-
computer now, so that's all stuff's right there, right? So
Yeah.
You remember that thing that you have to put on the VH where you have to wind it if you want to rewind the film?
yeah, I used to have one of those. You plug it into the wall, it would rewind your tape for you. Like I
You
borrowed
gotta
a movie from
rewind.
Blockbuster, and then I'd rewind it before I brought it back.
Damn, true.
That's fucking crazy. Yeah, if you could if you could like make a compilation of all that stuff,
Yeah.
it's probably out there too. But everything though, that'd be sick.
See, my problem is I like putting out good quality stuff. So what end up happening is I transfer it to my computer, and then I have a program, and I kind of upgrade it so that the quality is like almost 1080p. So
Okay.
that takes a while, and it takes a lot of like gigs because you're upgrading like it's like in real time, right? So
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Hey man, I'll be subscribed to that YouTube channel whenever you post it. So
yeah. I do have some footage of other crews that I haven't put up yet. Like, there's some stuff like people have also donated tapes to me because they know I convert, right? So I have
Okay.
footage of Intricate on Rap City and stuff like that. But I'm not part of the crew, so I'm not gonna post it. I'm not gonna convert it. But if I have a channel where I could put that stuff, yeah, I'll do that for sure, right? So,
Mhm.
but
Yeah,
then
well,
it's also time, right?
yeah, maybe even bag of what was it? Bag of tapes or what's
Mega clips.
Bag of clips, yeah.
yeah,
That's not my thing. It's nothing to do with Bag of Tricks. It's kind of an homage. to the crew.
Yeah, that goes back to one of the fan questions because someone asked, "Yo, Flex, are you Bag of Clips?" And there you go. Flex is not Bag
No.
of Clips.
we know who he is, and we're not gonna say.
Yeah.
We'll wait till
We
they say.
know, and if you donate to our Patreon, we'll let you know, yo.
Yeah, it's on the Patreon. By the way, $1 a month, bro. That's what I'm gonna say. $1 a month, you can get the bag of clips.
$1 a
You
month.
find all the gossip, all the shit talking. You can get part of the shit talking. But
Yeah.
so speaking of tapes, speaking of like old back in the footage, yo, let them know, let everyone know what is like the biggest jams that Bag of Trix has won, that you've won. Some of the b-boys you beat back in the day.
Greatest.
Okay.
accomplishments.
Yeah. Boost
Okay,
yourself.
so for myself, I participated in a jam called Monster Jam. That happened in 1993, and I didn't make it to the finals. I actually lost to this guy named Chaos, right? But then after that, like that was me. Then Gizmo and Tic Tac were in the duos of that one, and they won that. That's actually it was on Rap City, and there's footage of that as well. Benzo and Queso entered it, but they lost to Frankie and Derek, who were like the best at that time. So, but then Gizmo and Tic Tac ended up winning the duels, and I didn't make it in the thing because I was just starting out as well. So then after that, we had the 1995 Zubar. We won that one. We battled against those raccoons that went on to become Star Lords. There was also Intricate was in that in that battle, and they actually brought some guys from Canadian Floor Masters the battle with them. Who else was in
They
that?
needed backup, eh? They needed
Yeah.
backup.
Yo, was Buddha there?
The Buddha wasn't there. It was a guy named Matt, I believe. He's the guy with the windmills, and I think he also did Cirque du Soleil as well. Like he became like a choreographer, which was dope because then he could hire breakers to be in the thing,
Yeah.
right? In the Cirque du Soleil. Like we appreciate anybody that comes from the breaking scene that gets something professionally and then tries to bring people with them. You know, like that's what UBL is all about. We say professional b-boys, but no one understood what we were saying back in the day. We're saying that if you're a b-boy and you make it professionally, it's your job to help other b-boys come up too. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, then
And you
yeah. Go ahead.
Go on. Keep on.
Okay,
Keep on.
after
Keep on letting them
Zubar,
know. Let them know.
Yeah, after Zubar, there was a jam in '98 called B-Boy Clash. We won that as well. We beat Back to Basics. The Intricate was in that battle as well. Then '99 we went to UK, went to Korea, and went to Germany. We actually won UK. We came in third place in Germany and second place in Korea. But Korea was weird. It was called the World Hip Hop Festival. And what was weird about it was, you know how there's the tournament brackets? They had USA versus USA, and then the winner of that USA battle got a bypass to the finals.
What the hell?
So they didn't have to battle anymore, right? And then we actually went to the promoters and said, yo, why do they battle one time, but we have to battle our way all the way to the finals? And they're like, oh, because USA made up breaking, so they get a bypass. I was like, really? So then when you see us battle in Korea, it was against... This is the first super crew, as far as I know, that it was United Skills of America. It was Ken Swift,
United
Crumbs.
Skills of America, damn.
Yeah. So it was Ken Swift, Crumbs, Wicked, Flowmaster. Was there someone else? I think some guy named Sheldon or something. I don't know who it was, right? But then basically that was the first super crew, and we battled. They battled the Circle of Fire first round. They won, and they got a bypass to the finals, where we had to go through Korea, France, and different countries just to get to the finals. When we got to the finals, we were tired and we lost. I mean, the battle was 20 minutes long, and we were holding our own for the first 10 minutes. But then after that, for back in the day as well, b-boys didn't stuff. We didn't like to repeat things, so we were running out of stuff and we didn't want to repeat, so we ended up freestyling it towards the end, right? So,
damn, yo, you think jams are rigged now? Come on, dog.
Yeah, that's like some oblique.
Well, yeah, it's. I don't know if it's rigged. That's really bad of the promoter, but I do see there's a lot of politics now compared to back in the day. Whereas basically when you have a promoter, for example, and the promoter brings somebody over, and then that person judges a jam, and then that judge later on, when they're home, they bring that promoter or whoever their people is over. So it's like keeping it within the same group of people. That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
You should try to kind of expand your judges pool and different things so that everyone gets a chance. You know, it can't be if it's the same people, because those are the people you trust and you roll with. That's fine, but at the same time, if it starts reflecting into decisions of the battle, that's not cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Then it just becomes like funneling the money towards the same people, basically.
Yeah. So the UK jam was UK champs back in the day.
Yeah. The one thing that was weird with all these jams back in the day, it wasn't like a tournament style. What ended up happening was there were promoters in Europe that would come over to the States. And basically what they do, they go around asking other breaking crews, like just say they went to Rocksteady Reunion, they'd ask other breaking crews, yo, which crew do you respect? And then they'd tally the names, and then out of those names, those are the people that get invited to come down. So that's what happened. So it was kind of like the whoever you respect. We were supposed to be in Battle of the Year 1997, but no one could get our connection because we were from Canada. And then we ended up going in 99 instead of 97. So 97 was the year Stalements went down. So that would have been dope if we got the Battle Stalements then, you know?
Yeah, that'd been sick.
So that would have been Bag of Trix in our prime versus Stalements in their prime, right? So
that would have been sick. UK champs, Battle of the Year, fucking whatever the fuck that Korea one was. That's crazy.
And you know what's funny too? We got all those events, all those big events, when Bag of Trix was kind of on the verge of breaking up, because in 1997 we lost one of our members, right? Like Buddhist Monk passed away. And then for around 1998, we didn't practice together as a crew because it was kind of depressing to go where you're going to see your boy, but you're not going to see your boy because he's not there. So we weren't even practicing that much. And then we got the call towards the end of 98 saying, yo, you guys can go to this, this, and this. And we're like, okay, we're not breaking anymore. Let's get back together and do this for Buddhist Monk, you know? And we kind of did that, right? But it wasn't like we were practicing every day like we used to. Like a Bag of Trix practice schedule was basically... we used to practice as a crew on Wednesday at Teeth's house, right, in the basement. And then that's the one practice we had as a crew. Then Thursday, we'd go clubbing. Friday, we'd go clubbing. Saturday, Sunday, clubbing. So basically, we'd be practicing as we're throwing down all those days.
Wild.
Monday and Tuesday was our rest day. But we practiced all the time. And one of our goals was that on Wednesday when we got together, we had to show a new move or new pattern to the crew, display it on there. It has to be perfected every Wednesday.
Hell yeah. You actually have a goal.
Like so
yeah,
that's good.
And we also had routine practices where it was like, okay, this Wednesday we're going to do a routine practice. It's not going to be anything about solos. We have to do routines together to make sure that everything looks good on point.
Damn, Damn. So,
Damn, bro.
how many people were in Bag of Trix like during that time when it was in its prime?
At our height, we had 13 members.
13.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, here's something. Here's something you guys might not know. In 1995, when we went to New York. Oh, 95 94 we went to New York. We met Waseda crew, right?
Oh,
and they loved us, right? And then the next year, like basically they loved us. They came back the next year and they presented us with a videotape of the way they used to, the way they danced, right? Basically up until 95. And then we put them down with Bag of Trix. That's why you see sometimes we say Waseda, Bag of Trix, Japan. Because that year, the Waseda dancing now has nothing to do with Bag of Trix. It's only the 1995 to 97. Those the members are the ones that are part of our crew. Right, so the guy named Chow, Yajiro, Lunch, Jack, Carol, like all those people were part of Bag of Trix, and like they have our shirts, they were wearing it, they repped it, you know. So also Kujiro later on, who came to Toronto, he came down with Apex, and then he became part of Bag of Trix as well. So
the original Japanada.
Everything happened. The original one.
Until Anton took them all.
Now they're all Anton. Bag of Anton's Pokemon.
So you said that you raised a bunch of crews. Well, what were some of the crews that you kind of like helped like build up?
Okay,
or b-boys.
Okay, so basically what happened, as I said, there wasn't that many breakers in Scarborough. So when I started practicing, I'm usually, and this is before I was driving, I would have to go from Kennedy all the way to West Toronto, like East Mall around Etobicoke, to practice every Wednesday, and it sucked because it's like it was like a 2-hour journey just to practice. You know what I mean? So
Yo, I live in Kennedy, bro. I know, yo.
So then basically, I used to dance before breaking, and then one of my boys' younger brother saw that I was in Bag of Trix and stuff, and they were like, "Yo, can you teach me?" So I started teaching him, and then he had his friends. They started coming along, so I made a crew called Third Degree, right? Okay. So Third Degree was basically a crew that I mentored, and the whole thing with Bag of Trix is that we have to make a crew first, or another crew exists before that, and then we mentor them, and if they stand the test of time or they're loyal to us, then we put them down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then the thing that's funny about that is around the same time I was teaching Third Degree or dancing with Third Degree. Not really teaching. I hate to say teaching. It's like kind of like I used to practice with them and then exchange ideas and stuff like that, and then they got better. It wasn't like me like saying, "Okay, you do this. I'm your master," and stuff. I'm not. No. Like, let's go cypher. Let's go party. Let's have fun. That's how things were, and then hopefully it happens naturally, organically. You know. So yeah. So it was Third Degree, and then what happened was one of the guys from Third Degree Impact. He went to a school where he was helping these other crews, and this crew was called Back to Basics. And then basically what happened was I would tell BJ something, and then he would go and tell those guys. And then in a way, they started developing a style that was similar. So in the end, we kind of just joined them, not joined them together, but like I'd end up helping Back to Basics as well, right? So Back to Basics, that happened. And then after that, it was a bit of a break. Then I did Apex Crew. There was a guy named Vital that I was helping with that. But no one in Apex ever got into Bag of Trix because it was kind of like he stopped dancing. And then then happened, then Battle of the Year and all those things happened. 2000 happened, and it was kind of slowing down for everybody. So I made a crew called Soul Step, which actually had Andel.
I wanted to ask you, Andel,
Yeah. So Andel, Sticks, the first Sticks, Rush, Kirby, and there's a guy named Dave, but I used to call him Tony Touch because he resembled the DJ Tony Touch, so we used to call him Tony Touch.
My boy Biggles.
Not Biggles, no. His name was Daber. Yeah, so those guys were dope. But then again, at the same time, that's 2000, and then my first daughter was born in 2001. So I was still helping out and stuff. They used to come over to. I used to live by the RT station, by Lawrence Station. We used to practice under the bridge. You get a linoleum. My boy Nigel would pull out the Sticks, would open up his car and turn the radio on, and we just break. We do that there. So then I had my first daughter, so sometimes I'd bring her out in a stroller, and then we'd watch breaking and stuff like that. So. And I'd still be judging. I'd be judging events, so I was still keeping active, even though I was still doing the parent thing. Mm-hmm. So
there you go. Can you imagine like? Oh, go on. You.
No, I was gonna ask, what is it like being a B dad? Because I don't know. Like usually as a breaker, like if I have a kid, I'm gonna teach them how to break. I'm gonna make them learn what I know, but they're gonna be better than me. So what is that? Yeah. Did you have that kind of dreams or whatever when you had your kids?
I have 2 girls, so basically, what I do, the way I feel about things, like my parents never really supported stuff that I did. So what I did as a parent was like I gave my kids options. Like yes. I'm not gonna say I'm a breaker and you have to be a breaker too. So whatever you get better than me. It was kind of like I'll bring them around, and if they choose it, they choose it. If they don't, they don't, right? So I actually waited until they actually started copying me while I practiced at home. Then I started teaching them a little bit, but I wasn't as tough until they wanted to get better, right? So I used to bring them to daycare in the morning. So the daycare opened at 7. We'd get there at 6:30. We'd practice before they went into daycare.
True.
Yeah. So then after that, like I have footage of the girls dancing before daycare started. So. The thing is too. Also, like around the time my second kid was born, a year later, like I had problems with my thing. My ex is gone, and then so I was a single dad with both girls. And breaking actually helped me raise the kids because I treated it like a breaking practice. I basically everything with my kids I did as a routine on a schedule, so they knew at this time of the night they were going to bed, right? And there was no questions, and basically everything was routine. So once it was routine, like it was easier for me as a single dad just to do everything. Like, yeah, this we're doing breakfast, we're doing this, you're getting your hair done, we're practicing this time, you watch TV this your free time, everything was scheduled, right? So
Nice.
We're watching footage.
yeah,
You went from a B-boy to a B-man.
Yeah.
Those years.
Yo, pretty much, yeah.
yeah, and then
That's crazy.
basically they all started breaking. The oldest one now is going to be 20 now. The youngest one is just turned 17. The youngest one is still breaking. The oldest one stopped for she stopped. So it wasn't just fun for her. She had more. She wanted to draw, so I got a bunch of supplies from Curry's for her, and she's doing drawing now. So
True.
Yeah.
True.
As long as you're doing the arts, the arts keep
Yeah.
your brain active. My brain would be mush right now if I wasn't breaking. Or even doing some sort of art.
Speaking of drawing and art, shout out to our sponsor, Creative Genius Academy. If you want to improve your skills as an artist, there's no better place because Sylvia, a fellow B-girl in the scene, she's one of the best teachers for that. So if you want to learn some art, hit her up at Creative Genius Academy.
like art's one of the best ways to deal with problems. I know everyone's talking about mental health now. But I believe, like, when you have a problem, I'm not saying you're dancing your problems away. That's kind of something weird. But at the same time, it gives you, like, an outlet. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Something you can just take your mind off it or, make it. Yeah. Use promo code It's Just Breaking. I just want to say that.
If there even was one,
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that for everything, bro. Yeah. All right, that's most of my questions. What else you got?
True. No, I saw like two like really big topics. So let's get to the next one, So
Yeah,
biting,
for sure.
That's something that you're very passionate about. Topic on biting. So what constitutes a biter in your opinion, or what is a bite?
A bite is when you look at something and you're impressed by it, right? And then because you're impressed by it, you say, you know what, that's amazing. I want to do it. Then you do it, and you don't really change what you see. You kind of just repeat it. And I do hear a lot of people, so basically, a lot of people say, oh, you know what, my body is different than that guy, so I'm not biting because I'm going to do it a little bit different than him. No, but if it looks the same, it's a bite. Like, how we used to gauge it in Bag of Trix is that if you could take a picture of the move and you look at it side by side and the body shape and positioning is the same, then it's a bite. Like, if just say capoeira freeze was an original move, right? And then someone did a capoeira freeze and held it underneath their knee. Then the other one did a freeze and he held his toe. It's the same move because you're still in an L pattern. You're just placing your hand in a different area. That's not really a variation, right? To me, I would say you variated the move if you did a capoeira freeze on your elbow tip. It's still technically similar looking, but you're using a different body part, right? And that's how basically, because at the beginning when I first started breaking, I used to bite Gizmo a lot. And then they would actually call me, my own crew would call me on and say, yo, Gizmo does that, you can't do that. Like, what if we do a show or something or a battle and you do the same move he does, like repeating, right? So basically I had to learn how to flip things so that it became mine. And once I learned that, then that was a good skill to kind of learn and help teach the other people that I was mentoring at the Wells. Like, you could also do something and just flip it and then make it your own, but at the same time, it's not recognizable. It's like when you put a video up with a music sample on it, you get get in trouble for copyright.
Yeah, you get a copyright. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you do the same clip and you put like some scratching on it, it might not get hit because you changed it, right? So it's a similar idea. You have to change the move. You have to basically, how I look at a move is if I look at a move and I'm like, wow, that move's amazing. I'll look at it and say, okay, that guy did a freeze and he did a freeze on his hand and his legs were like this. What if I do a freeze on my knee and I do a similar position, but I hit it the same way that he did it? So like basically, it's the same move, but in a different concept, different body part. You totally flip the move. You know what I mean? Like that's a real flip where it's like the guy who watched it won't even know that you were inspired by that move.
Right.
But if you just take the same move and add a different entrance or a different exit, it's still the same move.
Mm-hmm. So in your opinion, that wouldn't be enough to like in order to make it your own. Like it really like that move itself, it has to be changed in some kind of way.
Yeah, I mean that's the way you build a vocabulary of breaking. I mean, yes, it's good that if someone didn't think of that variation yet, then you could do it. But at the same time, there's respect if you're gonna rock that move exactly the same. You know what I mean? Like,
True. So I guess another thing people bring up about butting is like I guess like when enough people do it, it becomes foundation. When does that happen? So exactly, in your opinion.
Well, once it starts being like even like 3 or 4 people doing it, technically it becomes part of the foundation because breaking is always growing, right? So, but the thing is, just because it becomes foundation, like you still have to recognize, like, see how people give credit to pull 1 for air chair. It's not like when someone does air chair, someone says bite now, but it's known now that that's where it came from. Once someone knows where something's from, then there's no reason to, and it's celebrated, then there's no reason to call bite anymore because it is, as you said, become foundation now. But if it's something that's fresh and people start doing it, then it's like, and someone knows it for that, then you can. But this is also one where the mantra comes back. You have to be true to yourself. Like, I mean, like, if someone does a move, I do a move here in Canada, and someone does something in Germany, and he never met me, never saw me, never, I'm not going to call him a biter because that's me being conceited, thinking that I'm so big that he knew my move. No, man. Like, if he's true to himself and he made it up, I can't argue with him. I can battle him and stuff, but even if I battle him, doesn't mean I'm the owner of the move. It just means I battle him. I mean, like,
you just battle some guy with the same move as you.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, just be true to yourself, know what you create, and know what you got inspired from, and everything's fine, man. Like, no one's gonna, just because someone calls you a biter in a battle doesn't mean you're a biter. You know what I mean? Like,
like if you know deep down in your heart that you made that move, that and you're like, bro, that's my shit, bro. I know I made it myself. It might be a coincidence that I might have done it with someone, but I believe that I did it.
Yeah.
What if they give props, like if they make him, so basically Wing Zero, he has a move or he has a couple of sets, and then like I think it was either Supernaturalz or someone called bite on him, and he's like, yeah, I like you, I like your style. This is like I know you're my favorite b-boy, and he did that in the middle of a battle.
Yeah.
Like a mocking way, or is it kind of like in a like?
No, he's like yeah. So he did a move and then they're like bite, and then he's just like, yeah, you're my favorite b-boy.
Yeah. Well, this is the whole thing. Biting. Okay, breaking. There's like rules in breaking and stuff, but just because there's a rule in breaking doesn't mean you have to abide by it. You know what I'm saying? Like there's things like, how I said to a Bag of Trix doesn't like to repeat in one night. It doesn't mean that we can't repeat. It doesn't mean that if I did something bad's gonna happen to me. It's just something that we're holding to ourselves to make it more difficult. Like guy Sensei goes, if I don't do this, I can do 1,000 push-ups or something. Like you're doing something to make it harder for yourself so that you get better in the long run, right? So if there's somebody out there that loves biting and is really good and athletic and can do any move, like that's more power to that dude. I mean, I don't have to like him personally, but I will respect the fact that he can do so many things. You know what I mean? Like, or like I just don't perfect. It's like religion and stuff. People all pray to one God, and then it's all different ways of doing it, right? But everyone wants to be good and get to some sort of heaven. You know what I mean? So, just because I don't agree with your religion doesn't mean I can't get along with you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
okay. So biters, it's okay to.
So I guess going back to going back to this, who are like your favorite b-boys, and I guess in a more originality kind of aspect, like from back then and now that you like. So like name like top 3 back then, top 3 now, like b-boys that you like or who you think are super original.
Okay, so for me, my style is a mixture of Gizmo, Benzo, and Storm. Those are the people that back then, even though they were my crew, I mean, I was more of a hip-hop top freestyle dancer with a windmill and stuff back then, right? But then Benzo had all that arm thread stuff, and then Gizmo had the way he had his threading and stuff, but like he had different styles stuff, which I liked as well. So like I'd put those things together and try to make a different style from that. So those are the guys I look up to, and then of course Ivan for his power. I love power. I mean, I like people that can do power really fast and clean. So those are the people from back then. Nowadays, I like Ills. Ills is dope. So, are we keeping it Canadian or is it like all over?
Anywhere.
Yeah, anywhere. And then I guess later, because we're gonna ask about you beyond like who do you think are the top? Yeah, but like everywhere right now. Yeah. So
yeah. I like United Rivals for sure. Like those guys are dope. I like Onsen. I like Sticks. Everybody. For today, okay. I like Kid David because he dances, right? I like Top Rocks a lot. I like Casper. I like his energy. To be honest, those guys are probably kind of old now too, but those are the guys I kind of look to. There's a guy from Korea named Goblin. I think he's dope.
Oh yeah, Goblin.
He's
Yeah,
nasty.
he's
Yeah.
He's a fiend.
like the way he breaks it, he's like clean ass foundation, like, but he like whips it, yo. I don't know, he's like.
You know what I like about Goblin? His name actually like describes his style. He
Yeah,
looks,
yeah.
You can see like literally a Goblin, bro. Oh, speaking of that, actually, how'd you get the name Flex?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So what happened was, as I told you, the clubs back in the day, they played all kinds of music, right? So they were playing reggae at the time, right? So the guys were dancing reggae. So the circle was a reggae circle, and then it switched to hip hop. So then I started dancing, and then the reggae guys were still there, and they were kind of making fun of the breakings of why you guys breaking is the '90s kind of thing, right? And like the reggae guys, if you look back then, the style was these tank tops or like kind of mesh tank tops and stuff. So these guys were kind of dancing reggae, and they were like flexing in the circle. So then I said, okay. So I went in there, I did a windmill, I took off my shirt, then I just stopped and I flexed in front of the guy. I was ripped back in the day, right? So and then everyone gives one of them like, yo, your name is Flex. That's your name.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So that's how I got my name. But what I did with my style though of dancing or the way I do my freezes, I said, okay, what is a flex? Is when you tighten the muscle. So basically, when I do a freeze now, I do a move and I kind of hold it really tightly so that it's like a flex each freeze I do. I'm not gonna hold a freeze for 7 seconds, but I'm gonna flex that freeze for 1 second. It's gonna be tight and solid. You know what I mean? So
that's sick.
That makes sense.
Yeah, yo, those mesh shirts I was born in one of those. When I first came out the womb, my dad had to put me in one of those just to make sure.
Oh, really?
He doesn't know, motherfucker. What the fuck? You need to know more Jamaicans, bro. The mesh shirt is Jamaican fucking standard.
Yeah, I'm so uncultured in regards to that. I didn't even know that was
okay. Well, I'll teach you, bro. Don't worry. It's okay.
Can
You're still a guest. You're a guest
too, or that'd be cultural appropriation.
If you can wear just a normal straight mesh shirt, but if it has a Jamaica flag like J Rebels, you can't wear that. Unless you go to Jamaica, you gotta go to Jamaica, you can get it. If you go to Jamaica, you can get it. You're cool, but don't flex. But yeah, man, that's sick. That's sick. That's a sick ass name. I never knew how you got your name. I always wondered.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's like a story that makes sense. Like, because most people they kind of like came up with some BS and like, yo, it's my name now. But like, yo, that makes sense. Yo, the situation made sense, and people named you that as well, which is like important.
Yeah,
that's like I feel like now it's like a lot of people just name themselves, and like there's no like elaborate story of how you got your name anymore.
And then each letter they mean something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it would be some shit like that.
True.
Shit, yo.
So the next big topic, yo, UBL, yo. So Flex, how did you start? How did you and Jeff Reyes start UBL? Or because I listened to a bit of your podcast that you guys, yo, shout out to the UBL podcast. Yo, I'm waiting for the next episode. Yo,
where's the next episode, man?
I'm waiting for Jeff. I'm always here ready to do stuff. But, so basically, what happened, like I mentioned to you before, like my ex kind of left, and then I was a single parent, and I was doing my thing, and Jeff is actually cousins with Silence, who's in Bag of Trix. So basically, I've known Jeff from time. If you look at some of the old footage, you can see Jeff there watching what we were doing and stuff. So basically, his brother Glenn, he was also breaking. You know, Glenn won the first Back to the Underground.
Yeah.
Hell yeah! Shout out Glenn. Shout out
yeah, Glendale. So basically, he was still dancing, and then what happened after that thing happened to me, and then people found out about it. Glenn approached me and said, "Yo, Flex, let's go to a donut shop. I want to talk to you and stuff." So then he reached out to see how I was doing. And then, like, he's always been a very positive guy, try to help people and stuff. And he just said to me, "Yo, Flex, if you won $1 million, what would you do with the money?" And the first thing I said, "Yo, I want to put some money into the b-boy scene. I want to make sure that people can practice. I wanted to make a league where people pay dues to get into the league, but then when they win battles, they get the money back, kind of thing. And I wanted to kind of make it so that it was like a universal b-boy league where everyone just battle all the time, and then you get stats, and then basically the people that win, we could try to get them to go to different competitions and whatnot." But for some reason, when we started, like, there was a lot of hesitation, and like people thought, I was like, "Hey, what if this guy wants me to join the league and pay money? I could just go to a rec center and break for free." You know what I mean? Like, there was a lot of hesitation. But right now, if you think about now with the Olympics coming up, you're seeing breaking leagues pop up everywhere now.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, like, we were ahead of our time, but too ahead of our time.
The scene wasn't ready at that time, but now would be the time where they would be ready, kind of thing.
Yeah. But right now, instead of doing that, I think Jeff's concentrating on Breaking Canada, which will be the thing for the Olympics. He's working with Vicious and those guys. And so what's gonna happen is basically UBL will become like my thing, like totally mine, and then he's gonna be doing the breaking camp. So we're transitioning that soon. So hopefully that's gonna go on. I mean, we're starting with the t-shirts. Like I put out some t-shirts recently with Mark, and we're gonna keep going with that.
That's sick. That's sick.
That was gonna be our next actual question. What is the next step for UBL? What's the next? Still gonna be jams, still maybe main events, maybe, but
yeah, it's gonna be the same pretty much. If I'm doing it, it's gonna be more just kind of like breaking, like jam wise. I'm gonna try to bring back the jam if I can, the way that I recognized it. So it won't be much competition. Will be with Breaking Canada because that's gonna be for stats. That's gonna be for Olympics. So that's different, right? So what UBL will be more like a community thing. It'll be more still competition based, but at the same time, I'm gonna try to make it more fun. It's not gonna be as serious. Not gonna be like all like fancy. Jeff's not gonna be giving me the money to do that because might be going to the Breaking Canada stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So UBL be going more grassroots now, basically.
Nice, cool.
Yo, I mean, like, yo, we're also doing something ourselves, yo. The Breakers exhibition to us, and yo, if you wanna like talk about it and collaborate, yo, we're always do it, yo.
UBL is always open to collaborate, and like what I was even telling Jeff one time was that sometimes crews used to have anniversaries. And it was always weird because they'd have an anniversary, but they were the ones working the door and they were doing certain things. I said, you know what? Maybe UBL could come in at this thing and say, you know what? Just say MEC had an anniversary. Let's run the MEC anniversary so they could actually be part of their own event and do their own thing, and we're running it. It's still their thing. And UBL has never been about money. We're not trying to make money off the scene or rip off any b-boys. We're just doing things in a professional way so that when people look at Toronto footage, they say, yo, they're doing it proper. They're doing it like Silverback and whatnot, that's what we were trying to do.
Like a big,
yeah. So we want just to help out. We want to help out anybody. I mean, even now, with anything that we're doing, anyone's welcome to hop aboard. They just have to realize that we're either putting our own money in or that we're losing money. So like when you come in, it's not like you're coming in to get money. You're coming in to kind of work for something and your name goes on a project. It's not really...
If anyone has ever had experience during jams, you know that most of the time you always at a loss. It's mainly for fun. For like community, basically. Yo, breaking jams, people don't even want to spend $5 to get in. How are you gonna make money from something?
I had an idea for a jam that we didn't do yet or try. I was gonna call it the percentage jam. Because everyone, they always say, oh, I have to, I'm a judge, I have to get paid this much. I'm a DJ, I have to get paid this much. I'm a breaker, I have to get paid. So what I said is that we should have a percentage jam. So basically, it starts off like this. The people who pay money to come in, they pay money, and a percentage of that money goes towards the breakers, a percentage goes to the DJ, then it goes to... So basically, it's a percent. And if you're a DJ or if you're a breaker, you have to promote that you're going to be at this event because the more people that show up is the more money you're going to make. You know what I'm saying? How could, as a promoter, think about this. How could I pay a judge $500 and then a DJ, whatever, how much money... and then pay the prize money $1,000, and then I throw an event and 100 people show up. That's not gonna. You can't.
You're gonna like lose so much money. Like it doesn't make sense.
So in order to do it to make it fair for everyone, you make it a percentage. How important is a DJ? If there's no DJ, there's no event. So you kind of give them a percentage, and a judge give them a percentage. So then when each ticket comes in, and a promoter has to get a percentage too because they're the one putting up the money for the venue, so they have to get a percentage as well. And if you're doing it for the love, you make your percentage a little bit lower so that everyone else can get more. So that's the whole idea of the percent jam, is basically trying to get everyone paid. And this way everyone kind of works, because it's unfair for the promoter to promote by himself and not have the people that are doing it promoting it as well. Like, why would I hire a rapper to come if when he raps, no one else comes to my venue? If I have a rapper come, he better bring like 100 people, 200 people or more, because that makes it worth me paying him, right?
Yeah, exactly. That makes sense. Yeah, that would be a concept that would make sense in terms of like not be making things like more fair. Like you're not operating at a loss as well, because if it's percentage based, it's a commission basically. You put in the more you get.
One thing we tried at UBL. I don't know if James, if Anton told you, at one of the main events we had where he was battling, we gave people a percentage of the tickets. So like if Anton brought like 10 friends, he'd get money back. Yeah. So basically, he had winning that main event, then getting money for the people he brought. So
I remember I was there. I saw that. I have a question. So like jams back in the day, do you feel like breaking should go back to having like a type of environment like that, or should it keep on going on how it's going right now, where it's mostly competition? Like, would you rather see it go back to like be more of like a party, or even like how people used to how they used to break as like like the 15-second rounds? Would you rather continue on how it's going now?
No, I've always been a 50-50 kind of guy in the sense of that I'm not going to be that old guy saying, "Oh, back in the day was better than today's shit." No. I'm kind of like, I did what I did back in the day, and things evolve. But at the same time, I have my core beliefs and values. So for me to say I want things to go back, that's kind of weird because things already progressed, right?
Yeah.
What I wish is that some of the b-boys wouldn't think of money over dancing. Like, I mean, let's put it this way: back in the day, if I found out there was a hip hop jam, I was there because I loved hip hop and I wanted to dance.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't there because, oh, the prize money's not enough. I don't like this judge. It's like kind of weird, you know? Like, sorry, no, I don't have COVID. Don't worry, vaccine.
Hey, double vax, yo. We're so far away. It's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just wish the love for it would be there more than the money or the opportunity. Like, basically just go because you like doing it. Like, you know, like, I think Trouble is having a couple jams with the prize like $200. I hope a lot of people show up to that, you know, like.
Oh shit! Wait, hold on. Trouble's throwing a jam. Wait, what?
I think it's coming up like at the end of the month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we allowed to say this now?
I don't know. I just talked to him yesterday, so.
Are we fucking up again?
You're breaking news, yo.
Oh shit!
It's cool, yo. It's cool. It's all good.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Like, he did a tribute shirt for me.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, we saw it. Sick.
I always say like that Rap City footage. Like I remember that intro trailer for Rap City. I used to always watch it, and it would be on the fucking the white floor, the fucking chick with the fucking the tank top and her app showing, and then it was you, boom, with the elbow freeze. I remember those like distinctly. That was like my childhood.
It's like whenever we used to travel and do tours and stuff, people got to be, oh my god, Flex, like that freeze made me start breaking. I tried that freeze first and stuff, right?
Yeah, dude, I thought that freeze was so fucking cool when I was like 5 years old or wherever old I was when I shouldn't have been watching rap videos. But yeah, that and like the Much Music, when Much Music used to have clubs, the club nights or something like that, and they used to show it. Yeah, and you guys used to break on the Much Music thing. That shit was so sick. When I was like a kid.
A quick thing about it, since you brought that up too, is like people use the word sellout and stuff in the wrong way, in my opinion. Like, I think if just say you go on TV and you dance, you're not a sellout. If you go on TV and the producer says, "Yo, I need you in a thong and I need you to do this and this," and you do it, then you're a sellout.
Yeah.
But if you go on TV and you rep yourself to the fullest, then you're not a sellout. You're just making your art available to more people. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
You gotta make, if you want to, everyone wants to make money off their art, bro. If everyone could make money off breaking, it would be a lot more people breaking right now.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, so like, but then they're gonna be able to sell out because they're doing Coca-Cola commercials. It's like, shut up.
If the Coca-Cola makes them do weird things, then that's a sellout. But if they actually dance the way they dance and they can do their signatures, then it should be fine.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully it's leading to that. People are trying to say like they want to start like a breaking union to like try and get, but I don't think that's gonna happen. Yeah, Gravity said that, but then Gravity's also talking shit about people not owning a house, so I don't know if Gravity's what I want to do.
A breaking union would be dope, but at the same time, it's kind of hard because there's breaking superstars and there's people that break for a hobby and then there's people that kind of just do the worm and stuff, right? So you have a union and someone's paying dues. This guy doing the worm is going to get the same pay as the guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's going to be like, you got to have it for like the people who are like the professionals, like the whole Monster team. Like it would have to be like, there's teams, like there'll be an Adidas team, the Monster team, the Red Bull team, and then like they're in the union and then like they do like all the big stuff. Or like people who are in that,
basically.
Yeah, you have to have like a professional. It's like when you're like in a union and you're a carpenter or something. Like you have to be certified and then you can get in. It's like you got to have a certification for breaking, which I will absolutely fail the written exam.
It's kind of like the whole thing going back to the UFC again. Like if, for example, like if you're a breaker and then you break and then it doesn't do nothing to the needle, it's kind of hard to pay you that much. But if you're like a Conor McGregor, that you do something and you bring in a lot of money, then of course you'll get more money than the average. Exactly.
Yeah.
Can I share one more thing?
Yeah, for sure.
What I wanted to do, which I never got to do yet, it was an idea. I wanted to do kind of like something like the Ultimate Fighter, but like a breaking on like a YouTube thing. But like
house, right?
Yeah, a b-boy house where they could have battles, and then basically the stories could be told. Because mainly, if you notice, all these things that succeed, there's always a story behind something, right? So once you get a story, and then the average viewers would get to know this person, they feel invested. So when that guy breaks, they actually care about his breaking. Whereas if you throw a breaking battle, people will look at it unless it's junior
Who the
or
fuck
something.
is this guy? I don't care about that. I mean, even like now, like people don't care about like the other people, or like the undercard because they don't know who they are. But if they know who this person is, they want to see whatever.
Exactly. So like, yeah, if you guys are down, you could do that. If you do that, I could help you guys with that as well. I mean, like we're always down to help each other. Like, I mean, I think there's more than enough things that everyone could do whatever they're doing and just do it together. You know what I mean? Like.
Mm-hmm.
That would be cool. If one of us, this is a shout out to anybody. If one of us becomes super rich, or we get into like into broadcasting or something, we put the idea out for like a breaking house, and then you get the sob stories, you get the fake beef. Everyone has to stay in the same house. The house probably smells like ass because no one showers in the breaking. Smells like old shoes and bo. But yeah,
the way breaking is, it's gonna be more Asian people coming from Markham, with privileged life, dog. No,
Breaking wants to get good again. Breaking wants to get good again. You gotta get back to black people again.
Oh shit.
Oh yeah, and then you were asking about notable wins. I beat Mike Del Mondo, deadly in a battle. But
Mike.
You know why I beat him though? The only reason why I beat him because Mike used to be a power move guy, right? Mm-hmm. And then he was transitioning into doing style. And what happened was when I battled him, we battled at a club called Blackjacks, and he was just in the middle of transitioning. So basically, he was starting his footwork stuff, and then basically he had his power, but he had been practicing his footwork for a bit, but he wasn't there yet. So when I battled him, it's like he wanted to respond, but then when he responded with power, it was rusty. And then when he tried to style, it wasn't there yet, right? So basically, and you know what the prize was? I won $25 and a lighter that it was engraved Breaking Champ.
You still have that lighter?
Yeah, I still have the lighter. It was a club in Scarborough called Blackjack. It was like a Chinese, like Asian mafia type club.
Oh, yeah. That's raw.
Hell yeah.
That's freaking sick.
And I didn't even enter as Flex because what happened was I found out the competition. I walked into the thing. I entered as Greg. Because Greg, that's my real name. So I entered as Greg. Then I walked out and I asked the guy when the competition going to be. So then no one knew I was there. And then when I came in and Mike found out in the end I was battling him, I was like, yes.
I mean, a win is a win, yo. That's a good win, yo. Yeah. Damn, he's a legend, yo. He works for Marvel right now, too. You beat someone that working at Marvel, dog.
Yeah, but honestly, Mike is dope. I consider Mike one of the kings of Toronto. Like, I have a label where I call someone's the king of Toronto when you go out and you make noise and you're bigger than your city. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I put Gizmo as a king, Miga as a king. Like, I have to put Dizzy as a king. He made noise as well. It's like, just so you know, me and Dizzy get along. You know what I mean? Like, there's beef within the crew and everything's settled now. But like, I look at him as a rival. Like, whenever I run with Dizzy, I dance better than I normally do because I want to prove my point of view. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So
all that old beef that I heard is dead now.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, Supernaturalz, Bag of Trix, it's done.
Yeah. Especially after rest in peace, after Mouse passed away. Talking to TJ, and he's just like, yeah, Bag of Trix showed up, and I was like, oh, respect. Like, it's over now. It's 100% over.
That's like the ending of a movie, yo.
It's over, but just so you know, even though everything's over, like, I still think that we have different ways of viewing biting. So, even if someone does a move and I think it's a bite, I'm not going to go on that person heavy now because we squashed it. But at the same time, it's like a different religion. I do my things my way, like I explained to you how I do thing, and they do it that way. But in the end, we're all dancing, so it doesn't make a difference. And if I do call someone a biter in a battle, it's just a battle thing. It's not that I hate them or anything, you know? Like,
it's more of like a now think, like a current gen of thinking.
Yeah,
it's like whatever.
It's all good.
So speaking of like battling, what is I don't know, my favorite question. What is the time when you've smoked somebody, like outright just destroyed them? And what's the time you've been smoked?
Okay. I was smoked. I battled J Rebel and Dizzy at the same time. So basically I got smoked. Okay. So it ended up going it ended up going like 7 or 8 rounds, right? But I could swear I won the first 3 rounds, and I've been begging TJ for this footage because there's footage out there, but no one's giving it to me. Yeah, and the reason why they're not giving it is I know the people in the background of the camera are probably talking shit about me. Yo, fuck Flex, fuck that guy. They don't give me the footage because you probably hear the voices, right? But at the same time, what happened was I was training a guy named Vital, right? Vital for Apex Crew, and then while I was training him, like he ended up hurting his leg, and we went to a jam, and then Skittles called him out, right? And because he could barely walk, he's like, no, I can't go. And then me as his mentor, I'm like, yo, fuck this. So then Dizzy thought it was going to be me and Vital versus J Rebel and him. So Dizzy jumped in. So then they kept on coming at me, but then Vital can't go in because he's injured. So then it was me versus the 2 of them. And in the end, I lost that one because, I can't, Dizzy and J Rebel. It's just me. But I do think I won the first 3 rounds, but then after that, whatever. And that's also at the time I was older and I wasn't even breaking as much, to be honest.
Yeah, you can't get smoked if it's 2v1. If it's just you by yourself, that already levels you up to you're by yourself versus 2 mans. I don't know, getting smoked there. I don't know about that one. When's the time you smoked somebody then? And
then there's a b-boy named T-Rex out of Brampton. So what happened was there was 2 events going on in Toronto. There was DJ Red Alert going on at Concert Hall. So Gizmo and those guys went there. And then me and Benzo and Queso and them went to the other nightclub in Mississauga. And there was a breaking competition there. So what ended up happening was Brampton, Mississauga, they're kind of close by. And the crowd was with him. And there was no judges. And me and T-Rex were battling in the battle. And then basically, I beat him in my opinion, but the crowd just judged it to him, and he got it. But then I went to the cipher, and I smoked him, and everyone knew I smoked him. So that's how I'd say that's the smoke thing there. But that was my best smoking there. I battled T-Rex because he was more of an old school guy. He did the same popping and he did breaking, so we had a really interesting battle basically back then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yo, TJ, let's see that footage, TJ. We know you're watching.
We're gonna see you today. We're gonna get that footage from you.
Yeah, we'll find out. We'll be talking to you.
We're getting it for Flex, baby. Let's go.
We'll get it for Flex.
Yo, let's go.
Yeah, I even told him, I said, yo, give me the footage minus the audio. I don't care what you guys are saying about me on the camera. Just the footage. I need the footage.
Yeah, the beefs are over, bro. You can't get mad. The beef's over now. Yeah. Can't go back to war.
Yo, what was that shit that Conor said when he was on the ground yesterday? It's not over.
Yeah.
Doctor
stoppage.
Yo, it's gonna be like that, yo. Yeah. So on our end, that's all the questions we have, and we have a few fan questions. So let's just jump straight into that, yo. So first person asks, what are some pros and cons you've seen throughout the years in T-Dot breaking scene?
Okay. Pros would be everyone's level going up. Cons, I don't think. I mean, yes, people are getting their signatures and stuff, but I think originality's kind of gone a little bit back because people already know a Toronto style, where I don't see people pushing the boundaries of, I want to make new Toronto style now. It's kind of like they're doing the old Toronto style, and they're still being original because it is Toronto style, but then I want to see some new generation breakers come up with their own signatures that become foundation. You know what I mean? So pros, everyone's level is going up, but the cons, I think originality is sliding a little bit down.
Makes sense, yes. And that's a good transition to the next topic, yo. So how has the Toronto style changed since you were coming up?
The weird thing is, I never call it Toronto style. I call it Bag of Trix style. Because basically, there's a video Dizzy did on Strife Television where he's breaking down Toronto style, and when he breaks down every style, it's basically each member from my crew. There's a guy that slithers like a snake. That's Tony Stees. There's a guy that ticks. That's Tic Tac. There's a guy that's like a Buddhist monk. That's Buddhist monk. So basically, if you think about it, all the styles that came from Toronto are from my crew. Yes, Supernaturalz does threads, and they do it their way, and that's their complex threading style. But that's their thing, but it kind of did come from our stuff first. I mean, not no beef for nothing, I'm just saying. I mean, they
flip backs, baby. You want to flip back, son.
Lego leg. You know what I mean? Lego leg. There you go.
Yeah, that's the shit.
All right, yo. So next question.
Yeah,
So who were your rivals in the Toronto scene? I guess in terms of individual b-boys, because we did talk about the crews, but who were your individual rivals back then?
Back then, there was a guy named Styles from Intricate. I used to battle him quite a lot, but we were actually friends, so it wasn't an intense battle. It was kind of I got you this time. Jedi used to battle me almost every week. Oh my god, that guy, he was a rival. Because when Jedi was starting out, like every time he learned a new move, he'd battle me. He'd say, "I'm gonna throw this move and flex his face." You know what I mean? Like, so yeah,
It works. See, this is dope.
yeah, he's a real battle cat because anywhere, and I'd always have to be ready anywhere. So like, it's Kenny Station. I'll battle him. I'll battle him in different places, right?
Damn.
Oh shit.
So, who
Hey,
else?
it's flex, yo, they were battling right. Like we used to see each other
Yeah.
on the street.
Well, I used to still I used to and I still do it. Sometimes I dance at a station or something, you know, like not if I'm listening to something and I get hype, I'll start top rocking a bit, not full out top rocking because I look like a weirdo. But I might be like tapping or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Oh shit! And then last question.
That's how me and Jedi met. Me and
Oh, yeah?
Jedi met.
You guys saw each other like dancing.
Yeah, like he saw me at Kennedy Station and I was dancing, and he walked up top rock. He goes, "Yo, b-boy." I'm like, "Yeah." Then he's like, "Let's go," and then we started battle.
Oh wow.
Oh shit. I'm on my way to my job interview. I can't do this. Actually, I heard that from somebody.
Wait, what?
But yeah. I swear I heard someone give a story of like they're on their way to a job interview and they I think that was Mel's story. That was TJ who told me.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, when we get TJ on, he'll tell that story. But yeah,
Alright.
he was on his way to a job interview.
true. All right, yo. Last question. Where does the name Bag of Trix come from?
Like I mentioned in that story, as I said, Gizmo, Tic Tac, and Flyer. Flyer is a girl, by the way. They were like dancing, and basically, and then Gizmo, and then Benzo, Tony, Magic, and Queso, they were dancing, and they're friends with DJ Grouch, and they battle each other at the same club. And then Twice, who's the MC for those guys, Benzo and them, they saw it, and they kind of knew each other. They said, "Yo, these guys are a bag of tricks." That's how that happened. So, because each guy in Bag of Tricks has a different style, so that's why they say Bag of Tricks, bag of different styles. Like that.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone breaks different.
Exactly.
Hell yeah.
We break different. There's a show that we did for Nautica, and it was so dope. We didn't even like. They basically paid us to go do something like a fashion show thing, right? We didn't make up the showcase. We freestyled the showcase when we got there, and it was so funny when I look at the tape. Even though we have different moves, the way we danced, you could tell we were part of the same crew. Like someone would top rock, and then someone would freeze, and someone would top rock. So it actually looked exactly like we choreographed it, but we didn't. It just happened that way. It was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Sick. All right, yo.
Yeah, I
so
feel
that's
like that
all-
was like that's like an older original fucking older version of like Toronto dances where everyone break different. Like you would see their like shot. Like I heard from like Legos say like back in the day, like people, you would see their silhouette and you would know exactly who that is.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's not really like that no more. Like a little bit now, it's a bit more generic now. But
yeah, one of the tricks that we used to do too is that when we were practicing a Bag of Tricks, like just say we were practicing your 6-step, we'd say, okay, then how can we do the 6-step differently? Like anything that you learn basically or foundationally, you could always flip your foundation, and then that becomes your signature, right? Even though it's based on a foundation move, you can basically flip it and make it your version of doing that move. You know what I mean? Like,
all right. Oh shoot! Okay, one last question before we get out.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, what is like a way you and your crew used to like create? What was like a rule of thumb? Like I heard the rule of threes. Like what are some of like the in your like when you go to practice and you want to like try and create some new shit? What would be your process?
okay, so
And what was something
everybody has it differently. For me, it was kind of like I had video cameras back then, of course, right? So we'd set up a video camera and tape the whole practice. But at the same time, our practices wasn't like I'd go in and do one move. It was like a cipher that you'd practice, and then sometimes you'd repeat because a move that you don't have perfected yet. Bag of Tricks, we say you can repeat that move until you get it perfect, basically. So if I'm ciphering, I'll be doing it over and over again until it becomes perfect. So as you're ciphering and as you're freestyling, and you get hype, you battle each other. Sometimes you do moves that you don't even know, and then that's when your friends, your crew tells you, "Yo, that was dope. Do this way." Then we take note of that, go back, look at it on the video, and then say, "Oh, we could do this," and then we kind of we freestyle to create, but at the same time, if there's a video camera, you can record it and then look back at it, then do it. And also, we also use it to rewind our stuff and do stuff. When you look in and rewind, it's different, right? We kind of do that as that way as well. So.
Oh shit, that's pretty cool. I never thought of that.
Yeah, something to take
All right,
for
right on.
session today, yo. Let's do it.
There you go. Yeah, I'm never gonna film my stuff. I hate filming my stuff. But
the thing is, okay, when we freestyle, just say they knew I had a certain song was my song. They'd put that song on, and I'd go crazy because we were a bunch of kids, and you hear your song, and you go crazy.
Yeah.
When you're doing that freestyle, sometimes you try a move you can't do, and you end up doing another move. Like there's a move that I do. It's one of my signature moves where I kind of place my hand on the ground, then I point, and then I duck under, right? And it looks like I turn. Yeah. So that move, how I made that move was I was like, yo, Gibbs, I'm gonna try to do a 1990 to a windmill. And then it didn't happen. I ended up twisting. And then the next thing you know, they're like, yo, that's a dope move. And I just kept on doing it.
Yeah, I know what move you're talking about. Yeah, that move is sick. Yeah.
And because I'm bigger now, it just looks like I'm rolling down to the ground. When I was younger, it's actually I planted my hand, and when I pointed, you saw me rotate and then come down, right? But now it's kind of like boom and this roll, right? It's weird.
Oh, okay. No, you're still sick for being big, man. You're still my inspiration for a big b-boys, bro. I'm gonna be just like you.
I just think the only reason why I can still do stuff is because I never stopped, right? It's not like if I stopped and then gained more weight, then of course I wouldn't be able to do it. But because my body is bigger now and I'm still dancing, I can carry my weight, so it's easier. So when you see someone like B-Boy Dummy doing air flares, I'm assuming he could do air flares before he was big. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
It's
a lifestyle, baby. So the breaking never stops.
Yeah, man, I remember
that never braked and was big. And then they break and they get it because it's hard to lift your weight when you never did it that way. But if you were a breaker, you probably can't do it. Muscle memory.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, when I was first starting, I was like 225, and I remember seeing you. I was like, all right, I still have a chance. I can still do it.
Yo, check this out.
No excuses.
I work at Apple, right? Say this card. It says Flex on it.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
That's my business card at work.
Yo, Gregory, your slave name, bro. Flex is your real name now. Yo.
Flex on, bro. Piece of shit.
Well, speaking of that, you know my last name? My last name is Chia Tao. It's not a real Chinese name.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm Chinese Guyanese, right? So what happens is so my father's father is from Canton, right? So my father's father went to Guyana, which is in South America, and then back then it was a British colony. And they probably said to him, yo, what's your name? And he probably said something in Chinese. And they probably said, wait, I don't understand what you're saying. I'm going to call you John. Your name is John. And then how do you say your last name? And when he said it, they spelled it out in English. But it's not the Chinese name. It's probably whatever they thought he said, right? So, like, Chia Tao. Like, it's not real Chinese. But I am Chinese, though. I'm Chinese Guyanese. My mom is Portuguese and Indian. Yeah. So Ilz is the cooler version of me. He's Chinese Jamaican. Right? So, I'm Chinese.
That's where you get the flavor from. You get it from the Latin flavor, the Latin South American flavor, and a little bit of the Caribbean put on top of that. Come on, dog. Hell yeah. Yeah, that's why we gotta hate these fucking British in this fucking Euro 2020 right now.
You're British Knights, bro. What do you mean? Yo, Flex used to be part of the British Knights, yo.
Nah. Fucking England ain't winning. They're up one. It's over. It's not gonna happen, bro. I'm gonna see my boys come back.
All right, baby. On that note, that's all the questions that we have. Flex, would you like to give a shout out to anyone?
Thank you so much.
Give a shout outs to all the breakers in Toronto and Canada for sure. Canada's doing really well. I saw Phil in that skills-o-meter. He was crazy in that. Basically my crew, Bag of Trix, the old school crew is like Intricate, Supernaturalz, of course, Boogie Brats, Top Secret. Who else was bad? Fraggle Rock, GI, MEC. Of course, the crews I like: Apex, Back to Basics, Third Degree. Yeah, of course, yeah. Orc, Unknown Floor Force, and yeah, those, like everybody in the new scene. Like I mean, Hoginga. That who was the other crew before? Psycho, right?
Yeah, Psycho.
Yeah, Psycho. They were the Scarborough. That was the Scarborough Next Gen.
I used to go to a lot of those practices. Oh yeah, shout out to Floodgates. He used to be Apex as well. I took it. Yeah. I felt kind of weird because he learned from puzzles and he learned from Deadly Mike. Then he learned from me. So I was like, oh my god, throw all that puzzle stuff away. I'm gonna teach you some different stuff. No, but yeah, puzzles is dope too. I like puzzles. He's one of my favorites too.
Yeah, yo. Shout out to puzzles.
All right, yo. And on that note, yo, it's just breaking episode 32 with the legend Flex. Thank you so much for coming.
Oh, I know we just scored. Let's go.
No,
bro. Come on.
Out, yo. Peace.